Alright, now let's have a demo of using volumes in an nginx container to show a custom content instead of uh, the basic welcome to nginx page when a new nginx is deployed on a Docker container. So just to quickly demonstrate, so I'll first go into my machine. The IP address is this. So currently nothing is running, hence I cannot reach this particular machine's port 80. Now I'll just run nginx here. So I'm running nginx in detached mode using -d, and I'm exposing port 80 of my host machine, which is Fedora Docker tutorial. Basically I'm forwarding from my containers port 80 to my host machine's port 80. So when I run this, it will fetch the nginx image for me quickly. So now that it is done, if I reload this page, I have welcome to nginx over here, right? Now, talking about volumes, what if I want to show a custom page instead of the default welcome to nginx, or basically use a custom nginx configuration or a custom index.html file that is used to show this content, right? So let's start on that procedure. First of all, I'll create a directory that I want to mount on my container. So I'm creating this particular structure, Docker share. Inside that I'm creating a HTML directory. So now if I see here, I have a Docker share, and inside this I have HTML. Now inside this I don't have anything right now. It's an empty directory, right? Now over here I'll create a file called index.html. So now I have index.html, and inside this I'll pass, this is my index.html from host machine with host name, and I'll pass the host name command, and I'll save this, redirect this content to index.html. So now when I do index.html, it has, this is my index.html from host machine with host name Fedora Docker tutorial, as you can see over here, right? So now I want to start a container. So let's first stop the currently running container, which is this. So I'll stop docker stop this, right? So now I want to start a container that shows this particular content. This is my index.html from host machine instead of the default welcome to nginx content, right? Now what I'll do is I'll mount my docker share slash html, which is this which is this particular directory. I'll mount this to my container. So let's start. So command might seem a bit complex, but if you follow it in the language that I'm using, it will start making sense. And this is one of those things which the more you practice, the more you get used to, and that's how actually even I learned it. All right. So now I'll run the container in detached mode, hence I'm using -d. I'll forward port 80 to port 80. I'll use the -v for volume, and I'll say I want to mount docker share html on /user share nginx html. Now this is where nginx uses the index.html file from, right, by default as per its configuration. Now these are the nginx details. If you want to learn more about them, go to nginx's website and see how default index.html works and where is it located inside your nginx installation, right? And I'll give it a host name. Sorry for that. Nginx container, and I'll run the image. So the command is docker run, and then because I want to run it in detached mode or in daemon mode in the background, I'm using -d. I'm using -p for port forwarding. I'm using -v for volume mounting. Basically, I'm mounting this directory on my host machine as a volume on my nginx container at this location. Why this location? Because this is the location where index.html exists by default that nginx uses to show you the welcome to nginx page. right? And then I have just given a host name nginx container for it to not use a random host name, and then I'm passing in the image name that I actually want to run. So this has started running, right? So now when I go to this, it shows to me this is my index.html from host machine with hostname Fedora Docker tutorial, as we can see over here. So now if we go inside that particular container which we just ran, which is this one, so I'm running the bash program on this, and over here if I go to /user share nginx html, which is the same path as this, and I see the index.html, I can do cat on index.html. I can see that this is the file which was mounted here, right? Now let us actually make change to this. So I'll do cat actually echo I am making changes to index.html from my docker container host docker container machine, and its host name I'll again pass the way I passed over there, right? So now sorry, I'll actually put this to index.html. So now if I see the contents of index.html, it is I'm making changes to index.html from docker container machine. So previously it was from host machine, and now it is from docker container machine, and the host name for my host machine was this, but for nginx container it is this, which we passed as hyphen hyphen host name, right? So I reload and I see the new file which I just changed inside my nginx container. But because this is a volume which is mounted from my host machine, the docker shared directory, remember? So whatever changes I make here, I should be able to see that changes back on my host machine. So let me go out on my host machine now. So see, I have this volume which I actually originally mounted. Go to HTML, index.html. So see, here are the changes that we actually made from within the container. So what this proves is volumes are really cool. You can use them to store your data in whichever way you want. You can store that data on an NFS, on a cloud platform storage solutions, or you can store it locally on your host machine, which is not a recommended way as we did, but this was just for this demonstration purpose. And then you can use that storage or that volume to mount on any particular container in whichever way you want to be able to see that particular data inside the container. Alright, so that's it for this particular video, guys. I hope Docker volumes now makes some sense. Go ahead and read more about it on Docker's official documentation, and and try to practice some things around it. Try to come up with scenarios that you could try and experiment with. And I hope this will start making more and more sense as you get a more hang of it. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like the video. Please leave me comments on how I can improve my videos or cover some things which you want me to cover on this channel. And stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.